But the inventions that we made in the United States, the white man is still benefiting from it. You know, like the comb, the light bulb, all that kind of stuff. Because we couldn't even, when we were helping to do the things that they did, we could not put a patent on it. The white man put a patent on it, so therefore he made the money, and his children are still living off of those things.
You know, I just did an interview with Dr. Thomas Minson.
Okay.
Just a few days ago. And he talked about how, and this was in 1985 when he started getting, so 1985, that wasn't that long ago.
No.
And that's when he started getting his patents. and just talked about how the people that he co-invented with, they would get the shine.
Yeah.
And now he's just getting the shine at this point in his life. And so that's very interesting. So we're even looking at the economic disparity, even when it comes to the inventions, when it comes to the creativity. I mean, even you see, when it comes to entertainment, oftentimes the faces behind it don't look like us. The financiers don't look like us. And that's
we've lost many of our people's lives because they want to break off and do their own thing, you know, or start their own companies and stuff like that. Michael Jackson, I think that probably killed him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. But anyway, that's how I feel about it. So when I was growing up, I didn't worry about Africa. I didn't know. I came from a middle-class black family. My mom and dad both worked for the federal government. I never wanted for anything, you know. We take vacations every first 2 weeks of August. We always went on vacation, and we always went north. Because my family stopped at Maryland. I had no relatives down south, Mississippi, and all. I didn't know about them people down there.
Really?
I learned about those people when I was in college. They started coming to college where I was. But I'd heard of, you know, like Hampton in Virginia, Morehouses in Atlanta, and stuff like that. But I knew nothing about the South. Nothing.
This is a fascinating conversation because, again, the way that things have been painted for many in my generation is that everyone understood, there was this movement of people that understood about Africa and how Africa worked and all of and again, that's just been the narrative. It's been kind of sold to us that there was this tremendous wave of African pride. I mean, I'm sure there was somebody who had some sort of knowledge of Africa, but it wasn't a culture-wide knowledge. So when you got here, it was almost like an awakening for you.
It was. I stepped off the plane at the airport here in Ghana, Kotoka Airport, and I looked and I saw all these black faces. It just blew my mind.
You saw all that melanin.
It blew my mind.
Especially coming from Maryland.
I cried. I literally cried.
Really?
Because I didn't know and I'm almost ready to cry now because it hurts to know that all my people over here, I know nothing about them. Nothing. Nothing.
And it was intentional that you not know about them.
And then, see, my family didn't make it to the deep South. They were up in the northern part of the South, which was Maryland, because Maryland is still considered the South.
Okay.
But it's the northern part of the South. In fact, when they fought the Civil War, the whites used to go to some parts of Maryland to sit out there and watch them fight the Civil War from Washington, D.C.
So you didn't have that connection. You didn't know. You got here, and the awakening started. Because that's what a lot of people ask me. They say, well, Jay, what happened? What's going on over there? I said, they're not telling us everything. Whatever you're believing or whatever you're hearing is coming from people who don't want you to know. And sometimes they use people who look just like us.
Oh, yeah,
to
absolutely.
do the teaching and the instructing.
Well, that's what they did in the school system. That's why they didn't put it in the schools. So your teacher didn't tell you, didn't teach you. If they knew, they didn't tell you. I remember in high school, we had a teacher named Annie J. Christ. And Miss Christ, you know, in the morning time, you know, you always had to pledge allegiance before going out and you go to your classes and all.
I remember.
She would never salute the flag. And I used to ask her why she never did say anything. Because she didn't want to say something to me.
Did you not go back and say something, especially during those times?
Right, in those times. I came in a segregated school. They never integrated the schools in Charles County until 1979.
So you Charles County?
Charles County.
Waldorf, La Plata.
A monkey.
Okay, so that's a little further down.
No. Waldorf, La Plata is further I guess you would call it Eastern Maine.
Okay.
If you go down 210 in the head,
Oh, yeah.
go down, you come into Bryan's Road, Maryland.
Okay, and right before Akakeet.
Right.
Okay.
Well, after Akakeet, going down.
Got it.
Akakeet, and you go into Bryan's Road, Maryland.
Okay, yeah.
And you take a left to go to Pamunkey.
Okay, is that near Pomfret?
Yeah, on Pomfret Road, Route 227, Pomfret Road.
See, that's real close then.
Right. Yep.
I'm familiar with Pomfret, that's why I said.
Okay.
So with that, the desegregation happened in 1979
Yeah, school system
in Charles County,
in
Maryland.
Charles County, Maryland.
79,
79.
not 69. 79.
70. No, wait, I'm sorry. 69.
Okay,
69, I'm sorry.
okay.
69.
My nerve,
69.
I was feeling some kind of way. I said, let me just
69.
1969. Okay.
You see, I graduated in 61.
Okay.
And they didn't, the schools weren't integrated until 69.
Whew. It scared me for 79.
Yeah.
But so
You said,
1961.
what y'all doing?
What is going on? So 1969.
69.
So when that happened, that's when. Now, do you think? That's a good question. Do you think segregation or desegregation benefited Black folks in America?
Some yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. Because for those who understood it, it was hard for them because they wanted to do the things that they were supposed to be able to do, but a lot of them were murdered, killed for doing it, you know. And the rest of them in the Deep South, they still didn't know, you know, just like when they got their freedom. Many of them didn't know until what? Way after.
Yeah, many
you know?
years after.
Yeah.
Some still don't know, but that's a whole nother, story. That's
right.
Some still don't know.
So, but my grandfather's father, who was Frederick Slater, worked on a farm in Maryland. See, Maryland didn't grow cotton; it was tobacco. Was the thing that they did. So he was on the Tubman Farm in Charles County. That Tubman Farm is over on the Eastern Shore where Harriet Tubman came from.
Okay.
But they were relatives. And see, it was not uncommon for when they were harvesting over on the Eastern Shore, they would send their slaves, a house help, over there to help them to harvest, and then they would come back and do the same when you're harvesting, whatever you're doing on the West Coast.
Okay.
So that's what happened. But we didn't know anything. When I was in 4-H club, they call it. That's what he had, county agents.
Okay.
That was in the county. So he was there in the county, so he would go around and help people with their gardens and all that kind of stuff. And he would give you this, that, and that. Wouldn't interested be nobody's damn farmer. So he also put together this thing for all the different counties in the state of Maryland. Would go to Maryland State, which is in Princess Anne, Maryland, in the summer for 2 weeks. And they would break us up into groups, Indian tribes. And you had this group over here and this group over here, and you would challenge each other during the 2 weeks. And it was interesting, it was fun, you know. And I used to love to go there every year. But then when I went to school there, in 61, when I went to school there, this bus would go past the school and I'd see all these people on it. And that's when I found out what sharecroppers were. They were Mexicans. And they would go down there and do all the pickings and stuff, and that kind of stuff. And even some of the blacks too. But I didn't know what sharecroppers were.
And this is in 1961. What type of history would they teach you in school?
Western civilization.
Western
What the
civilization.
hell did I need with that?
Western civilization.
I did just enough to get out of there. I used to get D's in the class. It was just stupid. It was dumb. But nothing about Africa.
Yeah.
At that time, we had no Africans going to school there. Because, you know, a lot of Africans were coming and going to school in the United States, but there were none. But we had them from the islands. And they were people who ran track. So when we were to pin relays, we used to kick ass in Pennsylvania. Kick butt, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Maryland State. And we also produced football players. Emerson Boozer played for the New York Jets. Charles Stoops played. When I was in school, there were a lot of guys that left there and went and played pro football.
Left from where you were and went to go.
From Maryland State and went there. And basketball also.
Oh wow! So it was a heavy athletic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. It was, I wouldn't say heavy athlete, but we had it.
Athletics.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that,
And now they did away with it, football, because the white schools got upset because we were coming out producing all the professionals. So they cut the arts program out there now, so they don't have it there at no football.
isn't that interesting how that it's a recurring theme? But again, what I've heard from many of my elders is that the silencing that would take place, meaning that people would see things, but if you ever tried to speak up and say something, they want to silence you. They want to
cut it off.
shut you down. It'd be economic, it'd be physical, it'd be whatever means they could.
When we were demonstrating on the Eastern Shore, because if you go on the Eastern Shore from the Western Shore, it's like going back in time, like going back into another world. Because on the Western Shore, like Annapolis, on up, to Baltimore,
Annapolis,
on the Eastern Shore, those people were backwards. And most of them, they did a lot of farming there, but they also did fishing, because you had the Chesapeake and all that.
Right, yeah, Chesapeake.
But so when we started this demonstrating from the university, which is now University, Maryland State is now called University of Eastern Shore.
Okay, yes.
UMES, yeah. But we were starting with Princess Anne and going all the way up to Cambridge before going over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. And we would demonstrate. And I asked my mom and them, would it be okay for me to go? And they said, yeah, go. Be careful, that's what she said. But then when the white kids at University of Maryland College Park found out what was going on over there, they started sending busloads of them down to demonstrate with us.
To send with you, to demonstrate with you?
To demonstrate with us. To open up the schools out. I mean,
interesting.
Restaurants and stuff down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that you found support from the white students of that time. And so that was
60s.
So the early 60s at this point. What would you say to those who are in Generation X, Millennials, and Generation Z? That's Y, maybe the Generation Y, the generation after the Millennials. What would you say to us as far as understanding the context of our global history? Because, in America, we see it as if our history is our history, but you came here and you saw, wait a minute, that this is bigger. And that's one of the things that I try to get people to understand, that this is much larger than American history. This is a global problem, if you will, that we've been dealing with on here in Africa and America and Brazil and the islands. And what would you say to us as far as educating ourselves? Because what I'm seeing is that a lot of people just don't know. If you weren't taught about Africa, then surely the generation before you wasn't taught about Africa, because they were barely taught anything, because they were trying to withhold education. So now those of us who have access to all of this information, endless information, what would you say to us?
Stop playing those stupid games on the computer.
Okay.
And go into the system and find out about your history, because it's out there now. YouTube has all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to think of the fellow's name. That was a heck of a writer. He was gay. He left and went to England. Baldwin.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'd never seen one of his books, and when I read his book, and I saw him do a challenge against a white man when they had a debate, he ate him up. We are smart, bright people. Anything that the United States has is because of us. A lot of the things that they are getting monies off of, we invented. But you got tired of pushing that damn truck up the hill, so you came up with a way to do it.
You got to figure it out.
You came up with the wheelbarrow. You came up with this, that, the other. They stole it.
Just like they do here now.
Because you could not patent anything if you were black. So the combs, brushes, and all that stuff, they were just poor white trash. That's what they are.
And they would steal it.
And they still are.
That's the thing that hit me when I came over here to Africa. And I said, wait a minute. I said, these people are brilliant. I'm looking at how they turn nothing into something. And I said, but this is what we do in America. This is what I see happening in the islands. This
That's
is what I
what
see.
we did instead.
But
The
they're
only ones that really kicked butt was what was the name of the country?
Haiti.
Not Haiti. Was it Haiti?
That was one the Haitian Revolution.
Yeah, they. Now they tore the French behind up, and they've been suffering
I almost
ever
said the French
since.
came back.
Ever since they've been suffering.
Yeah.
Can I
What you got?
It's a woman down there from the government about other things, including citizenship questions. You need to be down there to help the rest of us.
Okay.
You know what to ask, but you've been through that whole process.
Okay.
Up until fingerprint and all that. So when you got time, please come before she leaves.
Okay. All right. Tell. Okay.
On the way.
On the way. Come.
So you would tell us to get the information, learn the history.
Yeah. Go out there instead of playing those silly games and stuff on. Go out there and check your history because it's out there now. You can't hide it from you. And if it's a thing you don't want, you can find it. You know, you need to know how to get into the computer and find other things. But go to YouTube or any of those places.
Google anywhere.
Google and get the information so that you know. Because right now they're stupid. We see some young kids coming in here now, and it blows their mind in their 20s or something like that. They have no idea. If they get the opportunity to come over here and do study at the university, take it. Because you bring your knowledge over here, and you share it with them, and take it back with you when you go.
Yeah.
But see, we're not doing that.
Why do you think we aren't doing that?
Because nobody's telling us.
Okay.
Nobody's telling us. And they haven't figured it out. Some of them have figured it out somewhat. But now it's the musical stuff like that that's going back and forth. But that's more important. We had that always anyway.
Right.
But we need to talk about the knowledge to come back together. Because and not only that, we need to come together with the people here on the continent. Because we are not as close to them as we should be. They should be loving us when we come over here. Just like we love them when we come over here. So that we can help them and whatnot.
Yeah.
We need to pull our monies together to keep the Chinese and everybody else out of here. You got a young lady I saw something on YouTube. But this young lady came up with something like that. To cure cancer.
Okay.
And she said if you touch it with like a needle or whatever, it kills it. But now I haven't heard any more about it. I've been trying to find out how to get in touch with her because you don't know. Because otherwise, they will kill her.
Because she has to, because the cancer is big money. The cancer industry is big
If she
money.
doesn't patent it or whatnot, it won't be hers. White people still living off us going to the store buying toothpaste, toothbrushes, and all those kinds of things, light bulbs that we invented.
I said Thomas Edison did it, and everybody else. Or they said the German guy was the first. Well, they now say the first European to climb to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yes.
But he had African porters with him. Why would he get the African porters if they weren't skilled? You don't take unskilled people with you on a journey like that. So it's just you start putting pieces of the puzzle together,
right.
But then you start seeing it from that global perspective of what you're
And
talking
that's the
about.
way we have to start looking at it. And just like drugs in the United States and the ghettos and whatnot, it was, they put it there because they wanted to destroy the family. Black families were still pretty tight in the 60s. But then they started, your husband couldn't find a job.
Okay.
So then they started giving the wife money to take care of the kids, but they kicked him out of the house. They found out that he was there, they'd come and take the money back. So that's what they did to split the family up. Because they knew how strong we were. If we came together, you couldn't do that. Now, even though my mom and dad was a strong family, I had one brother, but I never wanted for anything, nothing. And we had encyclopedias back in there also.
Encyclopedia Britannica,
Right.
and it had a whole kit.
But the thing of it is that they still didn't talk to us about Africa because they didn't know anything about it.
They didn't know it themselves.
Excuse me. The only thing we know was Tarzan.
All you knew was Tarzan, and that's what was passed down. Well, Mr. Jerome, I thank you for your wisdom.
You're
I
welcome.
thank you for your time. I thank you for your candor. I thank you for really shedding light on this piece of the puzzle that most of us don't know. And we probably would have never met in the U.S.
No. There's a fella in Florida who makes telephones and computers.
Okay.
Figures or something like that is his name. I'll try to get it for you and give it to you. But I've been trying to get in touch with him to tell him, come over here and sell your telephones over here. Get up out of here,
And so bring your phones
Bring
here.
your phones here and your computer here.
But a lot of people don't believe that they can do that. Because I even hear, sometimes we get criticism for pointing out things that we see. When you see the colonial hand in the educational system here, or you see how it's impacting, and there'll be so many people defending. They'll say, oh, no, you don't understand. You all are privileged Americans. You don't understand. And it's like, no, we do understand, because we've been through this, and we're trying to say, hey, this is not going to be beneficial the way you think long term.
Just like that, when they go to the World Bank and get money, the presidents steal it instead of going out to the people. I mean, look at the roads here. They don't know. They don't do diddly about maintenance. Don't maintain a damn thing. It just goes down to the toilet, period. It makes no sense.
And it just kind of goes to show that if the colonial entity that used to be running the country can continue to put in place people that they can fund to take the money and keep things where they are, but while that same entity is still extracting all of the resources, then things stay the same.
What's the country now that they've discovered all this gold?
Congo.
Who?
The Congo.
No. It's not Congo.
You sure?
Yeah, recently.
Yeah.
The country.
The Congo?
What country was it?
The mountain of gold?
Yeah, Congo, right? Yeah.
I didn't think it was Congo. I thought it was Tanzania, not Tanzania, but anyway, all these billions and billions of dollars worth of gold. If we don't keep them out there, they're going to be in there, they're going to take everything.
No, they got it. It's done. Once they made it public, once you make it public, they're coming for you. It's just like anytime they found gold in South Africa, they would go right down to South Africa. Wherever they found something, they found themselves coming right in and doing what they do.
I mean, and religion. My great grandfather was a minister.
Okay.
I don't believe nobody's white Jesus anymore. And the thing that bothers me is that these people live, eat, and sleep religion. They'll kick you behind. You tell them.
Yeah.
They tell you what the white man told them. If you go to church and you see a white man, you can turn around and go back home because you saw God.
Oh wow. Now that's deep.
That is deep.
That's very deep.
And that's deep.
And then once you get to somebody on that level, you can control their finances, you can control their marriage, you can control their identity. You got them. And that's when I first came here and I saw all the phony white Jesus images everywhere. That's what hit me. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't supposed to be here with all this melanin, and then all these white Jesus.
When I went to Europe, I went to the churches out in the countryside and all, it was black.
That's what everybody tells me.
That's mine.
Everybody tells me that.
The Mary and the baby Jesus, black.
Everybody tells me that. Now, when I went to Brazil, what was wild, I went there, you saw everybody else was black, and then you had them holding this little white baby Jesus. So it goes to show that wherever the dominant color or complexion is, it's like they, for whatever reason, I don't, them having a black Jesus and all of that. But I've heard many people say that, even in the Vatican. They talked about how.
And the Pope, now the Pope is going around now apologizing to people.
That's all.
All the diamonds and gold and all this kind of stuff and artifacts, they got them stuck down in the bottom of the chapels and all that stuff in Europe.
Yeah.
And instead of being here where it should be.
And want to argue with you to return it. And try to do it with a straight face. That's when you start realizing that like people are smoking something ain't right,
Yep.
But there will be people here who will defend it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
People that look like us, they will say, oh no.
Yep.
They should do it because they're going to take care of it and they're going to preserve
He's a
it.
good man, good white man.
And I'm saying to myself, no, they done gave what you smoking. This got all of this, but it's deep. But I think people are waking up and having conversations.
Yeah.
Intergenerational conversations like this, and for us to, or maybe it's transgenerational conversations because there are two different generations.
Yeah.
When that happens, we're now able to put our minds together, and then other people are able to take this and say, okay, this is what we can do, this is what we need to do, or just to have a conversation that people didn't even think. They, you know, a lot of people are not even thinking about this stuff because, like you said, with the video games, entertainment, life.
And that's out there for it so they don't go out there and look at that stuff.
Yeah, it's designed to distract you from things that really matter, and people struggle year after year after year trying to figure it out. When sometimes the answer is simple, right in front of you, a simple solution, simple modification.
What's the name of the place where they burnt down the whole town?
Tulsa.
Tulsa. Can you believe that?
Well, I can, but you know, yeah, but they did it other places. They would sink cities.
Oh, that was more than one place. You know,
Hey, Richmond, Wilmington, they would go through, build highways right through. They would actually take towns and run. They did this in Egypt. Basically, when they wanted to build the dam, they moved the Nubian people, just put the dam there, the water came in, they moved them away. But they did that in America.
And what's
too.
happening now in the United States? All that flooding.
Oh, yeah.
Wash them crackers away, and all of them live in these trailer camps and all that kind of mess. Those houses and whatnot, they're catching hell.
And the interesting thing is that when people start understanding the history, it almost, when you really start getting the context like what we're talking about, you become angry because you realize that somebody has been playing with your mind your entire life. And you're like, wait a minute. And then you see all the players, and oftentimes they'll use blackface to cut, you know, your black teachers, your black preachers, your black, all these different, and so people that you look up to and believe in are the same ones who've been instructed to make sure that you stay in place.
We had a teacher, Anna J. Chris, smart woman, bright as she could be, in school. You know, when you were in school, the first thing you had to do was do the flag and all that mess. Then your bell would ring and you go to your classes. Miss Chris ain't never stood up and said, no, I pledge allegiance to the flag. Ever.
Oh yeah, I'll never do it again.
She wouldn't say, and I said, Miss Chris, why? She said, Jerome, I can't talk to you.
Because she knew that red and that flag represented our people. Everybody thinking the red represented some other, but our African ancestors who came over and built that country was represented in that flag.
And it's like even now they talk about the Indians, what they did to the Indians. It's a shame. And blacks out there taking that shot. I ain't taking no damn shot. That's why I haven't been home. 4 years. Okay. I'm not taking it. You heard what they did with the syphilis.
Oh yeah, well you know the experiment that's run and then apologizing years later without adequate compensation. My thing is always the adequate compensation. You know, there's the old saying, it's easier to apologize than ask permission. And so many people will go and just do whatever they want to do, won't ask permission. Then after you get found out, oh, I'm sorry. And then we have been groomed and trained to accept it and say, it's okay. Without getting the compensation, without the adequate compensation. How many billions of dollars did you make off of that? How much is this, you know, how much did you make?
White kids are still living off of the stuff that we've invented in the United States because we're buying it every day in the stores.
Yeah.
They'll never go broke.
And that's one of the reasons why I want people to know about Dr. Thomas Minson and understanding his story and the contribution he made to fiber optics and the internet and so many other things. And
the telephone was a black woman. The Princess telephone was a black woman. I mean, and just on and on and on. I can't remember the name of the book, but there's a book that has all the black inventions.
Okay.
They need to be reading that. And they need to be talking about that. And, you know, instead of taking them damn drugs, I mean, they don't realize that CIA and whatnot put the drugs in the community for them. Yeah. And you out there killing one another, and they don't care. That's what they want you to do.
That's what they want you to do, to keep population control and to keep things. So, all right. So, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mr. Jerome. That's the deal. Spend time talking to your elders.